Hello everyone, welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube and on X tonight, but get yourself over to the YouTube channel, get yourself subscribed and get yourself involved in the live chat as the window slams shut and we are, as I'm legally obliged to say, and we are here to review the transfer window as well as other Rangers news and to look ahead to the game against Kilmarnock tomorrow night at Ibrox. I am Scott Carney, and joining me for what is my first appearance with this fine gentleman since he has returned to the podcast. Ryan, it feels surreal, mate, to be sitting here talking to you again, but my God, it makes me smile. Good to see you, mate.
Aye, it's a natural feeling. That's what we said just before we went live. It is a natural feeling. I don't feel as if I've been away, but it's actually quite nice getting drifted in, eased in. I was with Ali last week and with you this week. It's probably better doing it this way than all of us together. So, aye, thanks very much. If it was last night, I would have worn a yellow tie. Obviously, I know that's the kind of theme going about. And I'd have
kicked you straight back off the pod, mate. You'd never been on again.
I never said I'd wear it around my neck, probably around my forehead. But no, it's good to be on here. Looking forward to speaking everything about Rangers.
Yeah, it's just bizarre to have to be sitting talking to you. And I've seen you in person, of course. I have many times
quite
since.
A lot recently.
But, yeah, I know. Actually, quite a lot. And at least you're on with me this week and not Ali. It's never nice when left in and even in a virtual room, it's never nice when left alone with Alistair, mate. So you're in very much my safe hands. Safe hands. Well, I'll put my teeth back in and we'll start again, shall we? So look, obviously we're here to discuss the transfer window as the business is now done, and we now have the squad that will be with us for the remainder of this season as we begin the run-in, I suppose we will be able to call it. So Ryan, we'll start off with the most recent signing, the biggest news I think of transfer deadline day, the saga again, as I'm legally obliged to call it, as it's now been branded everywhere, of the saga and the signing of Ryan Nadir. So completed on deadline from Hansa Rostock, a kind of record-related deal in terms of how much money's been paid for a player at that level of German football. And yes, clearly, Danny Rule, it's a Danny Rule signing. This is the guy that he wanted. It's been pretty clear from the kind of get-go that we were linked with strikers that he became very much the front runner, the top target. Now, obviously, Rangers started with a bid of around €3.5 million. It has risen to about €5 million now, just to get the deal done as of right now. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, it's hard to pass judgment on him, mate, because I've never watched third-tier German football, I'm not going to lie. But as I say, one thing is for certain, this is a guy that Danny Rule wanted.
Yeah, I think Ars and I spoke about it last week. Probably 2 points for me, Carney, is I won't get hung up on the transfer fee. That is just shows that the club are backing Danny Rule to sign who he wants to sign. I think it could be 500,000, it could be 5 million, 15. Danny Rule wanted this guy. This was his striker that he wanted to play whatever style he's going to play to see us over the line and going forward as a Rangers striker. So the transfer fee doesn't faze me whatsoever, and neither does the Division 3 thing either, Carney. And I'm not making excuses for the club or the signing policy or Danny Rule. I think that you just look at Hearts. I said this, I'm sorry, I'm painting the wall again for those who watched last week, but if you look at Hearts, their signing policy, Braga and Kisaridis haven't came from top flight clubs in Europe, and they are pretty much tearing it up and keeping them adrift at the top of the league. So neither of those faze me whatsoever. It's a Danny Rule signing. We've said all season, well, since Danny Rule come in, that look what he's doing with a team that's not his. He's as soon as we drop points, but it's not his team. This is the start of him building his side to go forward. So yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like. I'm interested to see what style we play, because I don't know about you, I've got this big target guy who is going to be laying it off. We're going to be playing long balls to him. I think you saw that kind of style against Dundee last week, where Dundee had his high, like pinned in the box, and Butland was playing long balls to Miofsky, who was trying to play headers off to Scovilles and Gassama, I think it was, the left wing. So is that the style he's going to start playing? Because there's been arguments between Rangers fans of, haven't seen a style from Danny Rule yet, and is this him starting to implement that? Are we going to be more set piece orientated than we already are? Because it certainly seems like that's the biggest asset that we have. If this guy is going to use his height to his advantage, then it's another big man in the box. We do look as if we struggle to create an open play. So I'll be interested to see if he's going to be a target man. Him and Fernandez are big boys. So I'm optimistic about it. A lot of people will be shocked at this 2 weeks in a row. But I'm optimistic about it because you've got to trust the guy who's got us back into this title run. We were nowhere near it. So start to build a team. Yes, we were all sitting at home hoping that Rangers would go for everyone had their own kind of number 9, but I kind of wanted that Motherwell boy to be looked at. But this is what Danny Rose went for. We've got him. He looks delighted in his press conference today. I'm intrigued to see where we go from here, Carney, because it's certainly, I don't want to say a gamble, but it's certainly a bit left field.
I would say so. I think obviously the money attached to it is always going to raise a little bit of an eyebrow, I think, due to the level that he plays at. If it was just an initial €3.5 million offer that had been made and it was accepted, I think we would all be going, oh, fair enough, that's just what you pay kind of thing. But as soon as it started to rise again, people start to question what's happening. And I mean, I know Alfredo Morelos wasn't the same monetary value, but again, I knew nothing about Alfredo Morelos when we signed him, and look what he ended up doing for us. So in that regard, I'm certainly not writing the guy off before I've even seen what he's all about. And I think we all have to, I think Danny Rules probably deserves a little bit of trust from us as well at this stage to go, right, well, you are the guy that's picking the team, you are the guy that's got us somehow dragged us by the scruff of the neck into this title race, and you kind of have to trust him, I suppose. I'm saying, I think he's 22, he's 6'4". You can clearly see that part of Danny Rule's transfer policy this window has been physicality, players with build, players that can shift the ball, players that can press, and that's all the kind of boxes ticked with him. You're right, I agree. I think Danny Rule looked extremely happy today about the fact that we got this signing finally over the line. And look, Ryan, no matter what even though you look at the monetary value, I think as every Rangers fan, and we know what Rangers Twitter can be like, can you imagine if they'd announced last night, oh, by the way, we've signed him, but he's not coming till the summer. It just isn't worth it. It really is not worth it. And then we go and spend 2 or 3 million on a loan player or whatever it may have been, and people wouldn't have been happy around that. So, like, it's worked out.
Yeah, it's a kind of catch-22 for the club. We've all got our ideal scenarios of how these windows play out, and I always say I think clubs are playing poker right up to the last minute. I think they're playing poker with each other with emails and, well, we're not really interested in them, just to see if anything kind of happens. To give the club another kind of a bit of leeway. Everyone knows in terms of the 49ers, we're packing. We have got money behind us, so you ain't getting anyone in the cheap now. It's simple as that, and fair play to Handstock for negotiating that way. They have got a record fee for the 3rd division in Germany, but I don't think we will be buying anyone in the cheap as long as the 49ers are in there, because the money's there, they know they'll get that extra million or two. So I kind of give the club a wee bit of leeway with that one. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how he goes. It's just a case of trusting the manager now. It really is. He clearly believes that that's the man he wanted. It's just a case of trusting him now. I can be a wee bit sceptical of, like I said, we don't create enough chances, but this would suggest to me that if he's going to be the number 9 or playing more predominantly than Chermiti or Miofsky, I would think we're going to start playing kind of long balls and crosses into the box for a target man like that. That's the way I see it.
I also think Danny Rule's given himself as many options as possible. So in terms of, we've seen clearly that he likes to he's not scared, to change the tactical approach and how we're going to play. I don't think he's scared to do that. And this player, you even made reference to it yourself, allows him to play one up top, maybe play two up top, big man, little man. We were brought up on big man, little man, mate, so that's we know exactly that style of football. 4-4-2 is not an unrealistic possibility to be seen. You mentioned yourself a chance of playing two up front with 2 10s in behind. So he's clearly thinking to himself, I'm going to have to adapt quite a lot here to get us to continue to win in football games. And look, as I say, right now I'm just putting my trust in him to go, right, well, you've made it clear to the board that we had to go and get him no matter what the cost was really going to be. And you're right in terms of the monetary kind of backing that we have, and the fact that it doesn't take too much digging to find out that the start of the takeover has not went the way anybody expected, more so than not the new owners themselves, and they were very much trying to make up for the mistakes that they made at the start. So Andrew Kavanagh is probably just as responsible for this signing than anybody else, because like I said, Rangers Twitter would have went into full obliteration mode if we had not signed this guy in this window.
You can't have that.
Can't have that, mate. And again, though, but it would have just created that sour taste. We were all waiting for it to happen, and it did happen. And we would need to be thankful for that. We need to be thankful that it did finally get over the line. Whether he's going to be the answer, I don't know. He's 22. There's obviously still a lot to go for him. The biggest thing that I like about him, Ryan, and this is we'll come on to Scott Wilson, but Scott Wilson hadn't played a lot of football when he came here. Ryan Nadir has been playing football and he's been scoring goals. So you've got to keep your fingers crossed, mate, that there is no 6 months bedding in period. Let's hope it's 6 minutes worth of bedding in and that he's absolutely good to go, because he's match fit, he's ready, he's been scoring goals. It's a case of getting him in, introduce him to the team, get him tactically up to scratch with the way that Danny Rule wants to play, and get him going. Aye,
because if it was up to half a Rangers Twitter, I would reckon Olsen would have been out the door last night and we could get rid of him. I think the guy's played, I think it's 90 minutes at a push between two games, maybe a wee bit more. We're fickle fans, and Rangers Twitter's another level. I don't believe half of them are Rangers fans, actually. But anyway, you could do a podcast in itself for that. I just think Nadiri's going to add different dynamic to the front line. I think being a target man, it's probably something we don't have. Biowski likes the ball over the top. You could argue as a kind of penalty box striker. Chermiti is, maybe people suggest are kind of argued that he's maybe a kind of 10 and 8, not that all-out number 9. And now you've got Nadiri, who's looks like a kind of target man. So he definitely mixes things up. All we need now, Carney, and listen, I'm a resource planner. We're in different games here. We know nothing. We need players to run forward, Carney. We need players to break the lines. I don't see enough of that, and I'm sure Rule, and his experience, he's been to Bayern Munich, elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday, etc. Our players need to be told to start breaking the lines and start being a bit braver on and off the ball, because if you've got a target man and he's winning the ball, it's no good if nobody's running off him. So it'll be interesting to see how he integrates Nadir into this team.
And I think no matter what as well, if we don't start being a little bit more creative, it doesn't really matter what striker is in the box. We do have to get better at creating goal scoring opportunities, which maybe I think a nod to maybe the fact that he might be going with two up top, to at least have one striker in the box at some times would be nice, instead of them constantly dropping deep to try and get involved. And look, as I say, it's an interesting signing all in. I think Daniel fully believes in him. It's one of these, it's like a data signing. I think that all the data says that he's going to be this. Said the same about Chermiti, but I mean, I don't really know what data they were looking at for Chermiti, and that's not being disrespectful to the big guy. But we had to sign a striker this window. It wasn't up for debate. Rangers had to get a striker in this window. With Chermiti, as much as he's improved since he's came in, and he has improved, I don't think you can deny he has. He's still nowhere near what we need or not what we can completely rely on. Majowski, so far has been a failure of a signing in terms of a striker for Rangers. He's really not hit the kind of levels that I thought he was capable of. And obviously Danilo's now left and went on loan back to Holland because, I mean, it's Danilo and it was well and truly over for him a long time ago. So with Danilo moving on, it was obviously we were waiting for that to happen as well, and Nadir to sign an order for Danilo to go because he was in Holland. He hadn't came back to the UK as far as I'm aware. He hadn't came back to the UK. He was still in Holland waiting for this deal to be complete, and that's now done. So it probably does spell the end of Danilo at Rangers. So the front three of Shermiti, Miovski and Nadir, they're the three that we're going to be relying on to be putting the ball in the back of the net. And I believe sooner rather than later, I think you'll see Nadir rising to the top because Danny Rule believes that he's got a big future ahead of him in terms of the way that he wants to play and the way that Danny Rule expects him to play. And he quoted as, we can have some fun with him. So let's hope it means plenty of goals, mate. Absolutely plenty of goals. So obviously the other incomings, mate, that we've had, Andreas Skov-Olsen's kind of the marquee signing, if you like. That's the one that everybody kind of sat up and took notice of. I think last night was more just everybody waiting to write that tweet of what are this board doing if Nadir hadn't have signed. Chukwani obviously coming into the midfield and Tur Romans coming in at left back. It's hard to say at this point, mate, but are any of these signings the strongest for you? And have we addressed every position that we possibly could? We have to remember this is January. We've made 4 signings in the door, which is pretty significant at this time of the year. Are they all in the right positions for you? Is there anything glaringly obvious that you think that we've missed?
I think if you'd said to me 6 months ago, I'd probably have wanted about 16 in January, Carney.
Realistically, though, that's never going to happen, is it? Like,
no.
Not in January.
No. But listen, you can always ask. I think that January's a hard window to get business done at the best of times. So the fact that they've got 4 players in is hats off to them, and they're not loan signings either. The one that stands out for me, for you, for everyone is Olsen because of the previous interest in him. The worry is that you don't want him to be a spent force. You don't want him to be. We should have had him 3-4 years ago when we originally in for him. That's the worry. What he's got on his side at the moment is we know that he's not been playing football. So yeah, we've probably seen a safe side to him. We've seen a player that's probably not up to match sharpness. So he'll have time. There is no doubt about that. But he does, and the other side of the coin is he does need to hit the ground running because we are unforgiving at this stage of the season. The pressure is on tenfold to what it is usually. So yeah, he is one take a man on from being a legend or a loser, unfortunately. But he's the one that kind of sticks out for me. The rest of them I hadn't heard of, but Kikwani for me looks like he could be a useful player. I like it's hard to judge, but I think we were texting in the group chat the other day there. The way he wins the ball back, I love that. If you've got that straight away, that's a great thing in Scottish football. He looked a bit like a kind of Rottweiler in terms of as soon as he lost it, he went to win it again. That's a good quality to have in Scottish football. It will carry a long way. His distribution wasn't great on the other side. We know he could have been a lot better on the ball, but he's new to the team. He's new to Scottish football, so he gets a bye. The boy at left back, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything. Is it right he's saying he's a Belgian under 21? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think a left back is something we definitely need because Magoma shouldn't be playing every single game for us. His parent club are going to get the best of him when he returns to them because there is a good player in there, but I think he's still immature. I think where I sit at Ibrox, I'm very low down. I see Raskin constantly balking him for his position. He's off the ball movement, watching his man. So he's got a lot to learn about the game. But unfortunately, we probably won't get the best of him. But at the same time, he's a decent player. But I think a left back was a clever signing to make. So I think with strengthening the areas I would like to but I would have liked a 10, Carney. There's just this creativity thing, this Asgard hole, if you want to call it that, where we seem to be lacking. He was the player that I'd pinned my hopes on being the saviour for this season, and he's not so far. And we need something in that creativity role. Whether we've got Chermiti or Miovski or Nadir up front or Harry Kane, like, you need to create chances for your striker. If you aren't creating chances, they won't score goals. And this is my worry. So if I was being extremely greedy, I would want recruitment in the 10 area. But I'm sure Rowe has spoken to all his attacking players and said, you need to up your numbers the second half of the season. If we want silverware, you need to get your numbers up, because they have fallen way short of where they should be at this point of the season. So the recruitment's been probably where I thought it would be. I thought we'd get a few in. It's just going to be a case of wait and see in terms of quality what we've got. But I'm sure we'll all have them judged within a fortnight.
Or if you're Alistair, 10 minutes. Alistair will be 10 minutes into,
Yes.
into Nadir's debut. Ali will
Yes.
have made his mind up within 10 minutes. There's absolutely no doubt. And I'll be sure to let all the chat know and everybody know exactly what Ali's thoughts on Nadir are. But yeah, before we come, well, I suppose, in terms of incomings then, is this a success? Is that a successful window? Could we have expected any more from Danny Rule and the club in terms of bringing players in? I'm at the point where I think realistically this wasn't going to be fixed in one window, but we've signed a player in every area where I thought that we needed someone, even though I do think the whole squad could be strengthened. Of course I do, but I thought we definitely need a left back, considering Magoma's a lone player and he's played every single minute of every single game, it feels like. So he can't do that for the rest of the season. There's absolutely no doubt it will catch up with him. With Barron's injury, Chokwani coming in, I suppose, I think kind of fills that role. I think it will share the workload, because Connor Barron again has played a lot of football, and it's a lot of miles that he covers for the style the kind of footballer that he is. He's just a kind of hunter. He'll just constantly go after the ball and win the ball. And but obviously we've strengthened in the midfield. The right hand side has been a problem since fucking Candace has been here. So again, we've never fixed it. Not permanently anyway. We had Tierney, who did turn out to be a successful loan deal, but we've never had anything permanent there. So hopefully Scott Olsen hits the ground running, and I say, if the rumour is 9 million, I wouldn't hesitate around Kavanagh going, yeah, well, if he's that good enough and you want him, then bang, the money's theirs and we'll keep him. And yeah, a striker. So I kind of look at it and go, 4 signings, 4 areas that needed it. I suppose, obviously, you can't judge right at this second, but I'd probably consider it a good window, probably a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not going to put a number on it. I'm not going to score out of 10, because I can feel it coming back and haunt me in a couple of months.
Yeah, mate, I said Giga was going to be player of the season, mate. So I think that sums everything up.
Oh, listen, I think I've had a few shockers myself in the days. Lammers is the one that I had said was a tin opener. But anyway, we've definitely recruited well by the looks of it on paper. It looks as if we've recruited well. It is such a difficult window to do it in. Sorry if I paint the wall again, but it is such a difficult window to do it in. You are not signing players who are playing game in, game out, and playing brilliantly for their team. You're not going to sign players like that. The reason we got the striker is because he plays in the 3rd division in Germany, and we paid over the odds for him. So the chances you doing business for that kind of level of player is probably few and far between, in my opinion. There is no way we can moan as a support in terms of the financial backing of this board. I think it's very clear that they've backed the first manager very well, and probably as much as I can remember since Advocat. Somebody might correct me, I don't remember spending that type of money since Advocat, which is like 20 odd years ago. So we spent a lot of money in the summer, and we've done it again in January. I don't remember spending this type of money in January either. So these owners have spent a lot of money. They've backed their coaching and their management staff. So we cannot moan at them. It is just all to do with what are the right men making those decisions, and the scouting and the player identification. If that's in place, then we'll be okay come May. It'll be interesting to see, but there's no doubt that they've backed the manager. I will give it I need to go because you've said 7 out of 10. I will give it a 7 out of 10 as well. Just sit the fence. A 7 out of 10. I think it's exciting, Carney, because we're signing from a different market. I've said that from the beginning of the season. We're signing from a different market. The good thing for me is we are not signing from English Championship. I did not want some of the links I saw in January, a couple of weeks ago. I don't want English Championship players coming up here anymore. We're all exhausted of it.
Yeah, that's refreshing in itself, mate. I suppose the fact that it's not just Championship players coming up here. So yeah, we've spread the net a little bit, which is good. And look, as I say, time will tell whether but for us to have a real chance of maintaining a kind of title challenge, I mean, 3 out of 4 of them are going to need to be good signings, and I mean good signings. So that's what we do have to hope for, and yeah, we'll see what comes of it. In terms of permanent departures, people that have left, Joe Rothwell left for Sheffield United. As far as I'm aware, we basically took the money back that we paid for him. So a signing that just did not work out. It really didn't. Kieran Dow has moved obviously permanently to Hull City. There is talks just now ongoing between the club and Rabbi Matondo about terminating his contract as of now, because he's out of he would be out of contract in the summer. So Rangers are very much trying to come to an agreement to get him off the books. Again, a big saving in wages would be there. You would like to think that Rangers are probably negotiating, trying to pay maybe half the contract that he's got remaining, and then just kind of let him go, and he can go off and maybe sign for a free agent elsewhere. Again, another signing that just never really worked out. And then other kind of loan moves: Finley Curtis, Clinton Enciala, Lyle Cameron, all out on loan. Curtis to Kilmarnock, Enciala to Westerlo in Belgium, Lyle Cameron to Aberdeen. Oscar Cortez, again, a guy we'll probably never see for Rangers ever again. He won a loan move to Argentina, and obviously previously mentioned Danilo. The one I want to get your opinion on, mate, is the one that everybody's speaking about, and even in the chat tonight I've already seen it. Finley Curtis. I can see the pros and cons of loaning the guy out. I can, of loaning the boy out. I absolutely can see the pros and cons. But the biggest con for me is Kilmarnock are a struggling side right now, and it's on a plastic pitch. And I'm a wee bit like, is this really good for his development? Yes, he's going under what I believe are good coaches in terms of Billy Dodds and Neil McCann. I think they're great coaches. But I just think he could have been used better here. I genuinely do. I think and my reason for that is, we're talking about the number 10 role, and I believe that Asgard has got better, but it's been like 1% every time, and then he's went a wee bit back the way, maybe 0.5%, maybe 1% again, and it's not been a consistent sort of improvement. And it is getting to the point now where it's like, you've been here long enough now, you know what Scottish football's about, you really should be doing better. I like Mikey Moore as a 10. I quite like when he's more middle in the park and he's got the freedom to do what he wants. So fair enough, that would then take him away from being the maybe backup, or him and Gassama maybe rotating even on the left or the right with Scov Olsen and Ant-Man and whatever else. Curtis could have been used and to back up the left and the right if we're going to utilise more Moore in the middle. Just my thinking, mate. I'm hoping it's really good for his development, because I've got so much belief in the lad. I think there's something there. Yes, he needs to develop and he needs to get better at things, but he's a lad, and he will learn these things in the game and hopefully get better. I really hope, mate, that the loan move works out for him, but I can't help feel we could have utilised him.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in every point there. Curtis, for the pro is, Curtis is going to get a lot more game time with Kilmarnock than he was going to get with us, so that's the pro straight away. And there, as you say, Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, who are good coaches, and he'll be playing Scottish Premier League football, which is a plus. I didn't want him going to, no disrespect, a Thistle or someone down in Championship, so I think it's a plus that he's playing with a Scottish Premier League team. Where I sit, Carney, physically at Ibrox, everyone round about me says the same thing. Why does he not play the boy Curtis? Why does Curtis not get a game? I think if you played Curtis as much as you played Gassama, I think you would get a bigger return off Curtis in terms of assists or creation or goals. There's something, that boy looks so hungry when he's got the ball and he's playing for Rangers, and we know what it is. It's because he's a Rangers fan. You can tell he's pinching himself. I'm a bit biased because the goal he scored that night in Europe, he came running over to where I sit, picked the water bottle up, and his face, I'll never forget his face, it was like looking at a son. He was shaking, looking at the fans, smiling because we're all bouncing, and I'm probably a bit kind of sentimental because I saw that. But I see a boy wanting to play for the shirt, and we never see that. So straight away, you're play him. But he hasn't done a lot wrong, can he? When he's played for us, even under Martin, under the previous management team, if I think of the game against that lot, Celtic, the opposition, whatever you want to call them, at Ibrox, he came on as a sub, I believe, and I think he did well for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I thought he did well, and it was one of the most boring games you'll ever see, but I thought he did well. He's just never struck me as someone where I think, oh, he's got a lot to learn, that boy, or he's miles off it. Yeah, he's raw. Yeah, he's young. He's very, very enthusiastic, because I'll tell you, some of the players in that pitch could do with a wee spoonful of enthusiasm about him, especially after the weekend. So I found it a strange decision to let an attacking player go when we are quite clearly crying out for creativity. And does it take the pressure off of Gassama and other wingers a wee bit, where you're like, do you know what, we've got rid of a winger here, so you're all right for starting, so don't worry about your position. I just think, from a selfish point, and it probably didn't do Curtis much good, from a selfish point, I would have kept him. I wouldn't have let him go out on loan. I would have said, let's talk about this in the summer, because we're going for this league title here and you might play your part. But we'll see. Time will tell with that one, but I would definitely have kept him, Carney.
I think as well, when we see so much poor decision making, which is the Achilles heel of this Danny Rule team so far, especially in recent games, the decision making has not been great, especially in the final third. It's been really poor. And then when Curtis has came on and he's made an impact because he's making the correct decisions. He's thinking, and I like the attitude of, and look, it's probably naive as well. I like the attitude of a winger getting the ball, looking at his man and saying, I'm beating you, I'm going to take you on, whether you like it or not. And if I don't beat you this time, I'm going to beat you the next time. And you just keep doing it until you, and eventually you break the man down. We don't have enough of that. We definitely don't have enough of that in the team. Gassama doesn't do it often enough. He cuts inside. Everybody's beginning to learn his tricks, and he's hot and cold at times. I'm not writing him off. Scott Olsen's definitely nowhere near. He's not near match fitness yet. He's still going to need a bit of time to get fully up to speed. And yeah, I just thought Curtis would have been an option. Yeah, and I just think it could have been better utilised. I mean, I know obviously there was rumours of Ant-Man at the start of the window as well, and the rumours are that he is still part of Danny Rule's plans, and I hope he can capture that first moment that we've seen Ant-Man. We all went, wow, look at this guy, because he's been a shadow of that. Yes, he's had an injury as well. I know, I get that, but with Curtis, as you say, it's all about, it plays on your heartstrings, mate, and and I don't think we need to be apologetic about that either. The fact that it does, he's literally, we're living the dream through him. We're trying to live the dream through him. So yeah, just a strange one. But I think in terms of players out the door, Rothwell was never going to work. Kieran Dow, again, never going to work. Decent wages for both of them gone. Matondo's, whether it costs the club a bit initially, then again, just need to have to get him off the books, because there's clearly no interest in him. There's not even been a pre-signing offer made. The fact he's out of contract in the summer, so I think it tells you everything about him. And I'm not having Matondo bashing anybody before people come on and say, "Oh, you're always bashing Matondo." I've just known for a long time that he's nowhere near good enough. And the other loans, yeah, fair enough. I suppose the Lyle Cameron one's maybe a question mark around that, but can I ask you this question? Are we? I believe even on the brief periods of time I've seen the new signings, and I've obviously not seen Nadir yet, I think we have to be considered a stronger squad than what we were.
Yeah, we are definitely. There's that. Yeah. I don't think that's it. I don't think you're putting your neck in the line there. I think we definitely are stronger. The Lyle Cameron one's something we briefly spoke about last week. The only thing I can think about with Lyle Cameron is he's just not a Danny Rule type of player. He clearly wants big and physicality on his side. So I think that's the reason why he's found himself shipped out on loan to Aberdeen. So I don't think he should take that too personally. He's certainly a decent player, but what we've recruited and what we've let go, we're definitely stronger, Carney. We had to be. I don't think we could
physically as well. Physically, we're stronger as well.
Physically stronger as well, and I don't think we can afford to not be, because especially the way this season's went, it's been the strangest season I can remember that we've found ourselves back in this, and it's kudos to Danny Rule for doing that, but we need to kick on. It can't be one of those ones where we pat ourselves in the back and say, oh, we did be able to get back in it. They had to come out there stronger. And I'm sure that'll be the kind of feeling within Murray Park and Ibrox. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play it. The recruitment's got on, but touching just briefly before we move on, the players that we let go, Carney, there needs to be a lesson there. Matondo, Dill, Wovewell, who was the other one? Who was it?
No, that's 3 permanents. I've gone. Danilo will probably never come back.
There needs to be a lesson. I know Matondo was over. Was it Germany he was when we first got him? But these Schalke, these players learned their trade in England, and we are not getting anyone near the best from that market. We need to move on from that quickly and never return, because we're getting our fingers burned far too much. We are throwing money about like nobody's business down there.
I get it. I wouldn't say never return. There could always be the opportunity, mate, for a player, but that should not be our prime market. That is not where we go shopping. Do you know what I mean? It's not. There's so much more out there, and I'm glad to see that we have done that. So, obviously, look, this is the squad now. These players now have to pull their socks up. This is. It's time to get your elbows out, and it's time to get stuck in, because you're here for the remainder of this season at least. And yeah, there's a hell of a lot for us to be going and playing for. I hope nothing more to be sitting here at the end of this season and saying that Nadir was the best signing Rangers have ever made, and he's banged in 20 goals, and even 20 plus goals would be fantastic. But yeah, I say it's time to get behind them, time to back them, and see what they're going to bring to the table moving forward. Obviously, following on from the weekend's game, Ryan, nothing each. Danny Rule's come out and said that it's not the end of the world. And I get where he's coming from. I think a draw, considering how we played on reflection, we're probably lucky to get a draw, and we should be thankful we probably got a point. But as a fan watching it at the time, that's not what you think. You do think this is pretty bad, what we are watching, and it is the glaring elephant in the room is that we just don't create anything. We are Magnolia paint of a football team at times. We just don't do anything. We don't inspire anything. We don't inspire each other as teammates. We don't, and it's difficult to watch. So you would like to think, obviously, going into the Kilmarnock game, tomorrow night, it's not vital that Rangers bounce back, but it's vital that we return to winning ways. This is a struggling side like Kilmarnock coming to Ibrox. We've signed 4 players, this and that. It's been a positive window, all finished on a positive. There's no real, I don't think, negative feeling around the club just now. We're all very much looking forward, but it's going to be crucial for Danny Rule now to show us and for the rest of Scottish football his cards now. Let's see what you're going to do now. You've signed 4 players. Yes, I know Romans, I don't think he's going to be near it yet, but the 3 that you have signed, the other 3 that you have signed are fit and available and ready to play. So let's see your idea now.
Yeah, I think
I know we've seen bits of it. It sounded like I haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it. We have seen bits under Danny Rule, but it's now time to let's play the ace card, shall we?
Yeah, it's business in Carney. It's time to prove why you were appointed Rangers manager, whether you've only brought in 4 players or not. It's time to show why you've been backed by the board. And it's funny because you saying those words that I didn't actually see Rule's interview at the weekend. I think it was just a wee bit too disheartened by the performance. But if Rule has said what you said there, it's not the end of the world. That's funny because Mr. Martin said that at the beginning of the season, and I think we all wanted to kill him. And he said that because it is the end of the world. As you know, as you and I know, it's the end of the world.
I think it was the day he said it. I do think it was the day. I don't think it was after the game. I think it was the day.
And he's right.
The chat will correct me anyway in a minute, mate, if I'm wrong. Somebody will correct me.
It's not the end of the world when Rangers draw, but it feels like it. It always feels like it. If anytime you drop points, it's the end of the world. We'll never do this. We'll never do that. It's all negativity and it feeds on it. But the reason why Daniel gets a pass with it or anything he says is because he's brought winning back to Rangers. It's brought back as a habit. We are winning consistently now. And yes, it's a bump in the road, but if anyone in that chat could put their hand in their heart and say they thought we would win every game from now to end the season, I would very much doubt it. It is time for him. The proof will be in the pudding when we start the games back. It obviously starts tomorrow, but Rangers need to start winning again and getting that habit back because we could find ourselves out this as quickly as we've found ourselves back in it, Carney. We've got huge games coming up, Kilmarnock at home, Motherwell away, Hearts at home. I think that's the order it goes, isn't it? And that they are huge. They are massive, Carney. There is no easy game in that, and Danny will know that. My only concern is, you touched on it, is a lack of creativity has been a theme probably throughout the season, or throughout, let's just say from Danny Rule coming in, a lack of creativity has definitely been a theme there. We score goals from set pieces that kind of bails us out. It's part of the game, so it doesn't mean it doesn't count, but it's bailed us out a wee bit at times, and then the control then falls with us because the team we're playing maybe start defending a bit more in case the game gets away from them. But there's certainly an element of, are we only a set piece team? Are we just kind of getting through at times? The one thing that struck me at the weekend was, I've seen that first half performance before where we could have been down 2-0 and we weren't, and it was 0-0, and you're lucky to go in there at a draw. But he's got a reaction at him. The energy's come out of him in the second half. I didn't see that at the weekend, and that was the big factor for me, was why were they not more energetic? Why was there not more running off the ball? Why was there not more aggression? Why was there not more enthusiasm for the ball? I could go on. That will be a concern for him, especially at this stage of the season. Is that wee bit of complacency? Are they patting themselves in the back thinking, oh, we've got back in this, that's good, isn't it? Like, that can't be the case. So there needs to be, although I agree with you, it's all about just getting the 3 points. I do want to see some sort of reaction tomorrow night. I do want to see a lot more energy in the team, because I thought the energy was really low, and I might be being harsh because we were away from home in Europe, and I appreciate that flights, etc., and travelling can play a part in it, but there needs to be energy. We can't have that as an excuse for the rest of the season that players are maybe tired. Utilise the squad, start rotating it a bit. There has to be more energy in this team that needs to start for tomorrow.
I think it'll be an expected crowd tomorrow night. I think we'll be going to Ibrox expecting to see an upturn. I think this season's got peaks and troughs in it, mate, for sure, and I hope very much that this is one of the troughs. We've now hit that level where we thought, right, that's caught up with us, and I do stand by that this performance has been in the post. That result, really more than anything, had been in the post because we'd got away with it. Maybe not got away with it against Dundee. I think we were the dominant side against Dundee, and then obviously 2 late goals makes it look a lot more comfortable than what it was. I think we're all honest enough as fans to say that. But again, it was 3-0. I was delighted. I was buzzing, like happy with that, get away with that. And then, the lack of reaction in the second half from what we'd seen against Hibs, I was like, oh, this is a bit of a concern, like, because it was just incredibly frustrating to watch as well. We know some of the players have got it in them, but others are still going to be question marks over, and there's absolutely no doubt. And I don't want to go down and kind of break down every single player, but it's now time to go, right, that happened, let's put that in the bin, dust that off. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is how we create. We're going to be up against a back 10 tomorrow. There's absolutely no doubt. Kilmarnock are sitting 11th in the league. They are going for every single point that they can possibly get right now. They're not a very good team, and haven't been for the majority of this season. So they'll be coming here to make things as frustrating as possible. And whether we like it or not, McCann and Billy Dodge know exactly what the Ibrox crowd can be like. So they'll know how to play this. They'll know exactly what to do. to, be it ex-Rangers men, whatever, it doesn't matter. They'll be coming here with a game plan of let's frustrate Rangers for as long as we can and hopefully get a set piece, catch them on a break, whatever it may be, because we're kind of open to breaks at times. We have seen it very easily to break on Rangers. But no matter that, even me saying all of that, I fully expect Rangers to win tomorrow night, and I expect a hell of a lot more heart, a lot more tempo, a lot more desire in our play. I feel that times were far too slow, and I thought Sunday showed that, just how slow we were at times. I was like, why are we taking so much time on the ball? We don't need to move it quickly, get Hibs moving from side to side at least, and try and break the lines. And we weren't doing that. We really weren't doing that. So but I do expect Rangers to be much better tomorrow night, and I don't think that's an unrealistic expectation to have, with it being at Ibrox and with the level of opposition that we are playing. Obviously, in Sunday, Ryan, the starting 11, I don't think many people could have complained about it, to be honest, with Sterling coming back in at right back, Chukwueze coming back into the midfield, and obviously Skov Olsen starting. With Nadir coming in straight away, mate, do you expect him to come in straight away? Do you think we immediately will see a change of formation from Danny Rule, the fact that he mentioned a 4-4-2? Do you think there's a possibility that we'll play two strikers? Is there a need for us to have two kind of holding midfielders? Or I know Raskin plays a little bit further forward when Chukwueze's on, but I think you could have just one of them. Maybe have Raskin pushed a bit forward behind the two strikers, possibly an option to look at. But do you see an immediate change, or do you think it will be phase them in easily? And do you see any changes to the starting 11 that played on Sunday tomorrow night?
I think it'd be interesting if he did start him. There's obviously no concerns about his fitness. I think I might have read today that he said that he's happy where he's at in terms of.
He ran from Germany to Glasgow. just started running.
It sounds like
by the time I get there, this deal will be done, so I'll just run.
He ran to the end of the street at Auchenhowie and then just jumped in a motor and get the last 2 minutes in. No, they seem to be happy where he is in terms of fitness and sharpness, because he has been playing with his former club. So it would be interesting if he did start him, because if he did start him, it kind of sends a message out to Chermiti and Miovski of, you've not been doing it. This is why I went and bought this guy. That's what I would read into that. So it'd be interesting if he did. I don't think he will. I think the boy will start on the bench. I think Chermiti will start up front. But we'll wait and see with that one. The midfield, Carney, is the big one for me. I think there's still, from Barron dropping out, there seems to be a disconnect of whose role's what. We're asking, I've always said Raskin kind of drifts in and out of games for me. There was a wee bust on Sunday. I think I texted the chat where he just bust into the box, played a 1-2, similar to the one he did at Parkhead, and I thought he needs to do that more because he's so good at it. He can break the lines. If he just demands the ball and takes it a run, he can do it instead of this pass that we can see that he does, and any player on the team can do. But there seems to be him and Chigwane. Do they know what each other's role is? Have they got that relationship yet? Probably not. But that's for Will to sort out. Personally, I would have Diamandi in there tomorrow night. I think he's come on to a bit of form. I was surprised he didn't play on Sunday. So I would like to see him tomorrow night. But the midfield is the one where I think we're just starting to get a bit of balance with Barron coming on to like some really good form. And him and Raskin seem to know when one would stay and one would go. And now he's injured. That seems to be all away. And you can see the midfield don't control games. It's a game of basketball. It goes back and forward, but we need the midfield to control the game, to bring players in, to run off, have one sitter. And I've said this 100 times on the pod, you do not need two centre defensive midfielders in Scotland, especially not Ibrox. I don't believe you need it. I think we saw it back when Kamara and Jack used to play. Was it Jack Kamara you called him?
Jack Kamara,
on that. Jack Kamara. I always felt you didn't need that in Scotland. I felt you could burn one of them, because they could both do the same job, or if one went, one stayed. So the midfield's definitely where Roll needs to kind of turn the Rubik's Cube a wee bit and work out what his best formation and best starting lineup is there. So it'll be interesting to see who he selects tomorrow. But I would go with Diamandi and Raskin in there.
would you play Chukwani, Raskin and Diomande, they three, or you would just keep Asgard in the 10, or would you just have Raskin and Diomande kind of playing further forward?
I think I would play Raskin, Diomande and Moore as your freebie.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we can overdo it in that centre midfield, and Kilmarnock at home, to me, feels like one of those games that we don't need an extra body in there.
I agree. I would rather, I've already said it in this podcast, that I would rather see Mikey Moore play more in that kind of 10 role, the kind of free role, if you like. And to give overlaps to the wingers if he has to, or play in the middle to support the striker. That's where I would like to see him. I think you just kind of free him up, let him do, because he's very good as well at getting the ball in the middle of the pitch, turning a player and just running at the defence. And I like to see him when he's doing that. I think he's at his best when he's doing that. He's got an eye for goal, and we've seen him score some pretty good goals already for Rangers. So yeah, I would much rather see him in the 10 than Asgard. And in terms of the midfield, I get the argument with Diomande, and I'm not just doing this because I've had my doubts over Diomande previously. I do think Diomande's got a bit better. Definitely. I don't think he made much of an impact at the weekend. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think he was that great. But again, the rest of the team were honking. So, and Raskin's one, again, he used to really need to pull his socks up and be more consistent. He's good enough to dominate these games. The middle of the park should be his, and he just doesn't do it enough for me. So I think he'll play Raskin and Chukwani. Well, that's what I think. If I was Danny Rule and he was going to play Mikey Moore at the 10, I think he'll play Chukwani and Raskin and try and push Raskin a little bit further forward in order to do the runs into the box, like you said, and just have Chukwani sitting there to sweep up and deal with anything that might come his way. The back four, I think, will probably be the same. I think it will be Magoma, Fernandez, Shooter and Sterling that will play. Again, Sterling wasn't great at the weekend, but I think it will remain him, and then it'll be Scott Wilson, Shermiti and Gassama as the kind of front three. You agree? Yeah.
Agreed,
so
yes,
on that,
indeed,
yeah. So on that, mate, score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0 and I'm going to go Olsen first goal. There you go. Off the mark tomorrow.
I'll take it, mate. I'm going to go for 4-0 Rangers, and I'm going to take Mikey Moore to score the first goal if he does start indeed in that kind of 10-3 role. Which
Let's go with yours. Let's go with yours. I like yours.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see. Yeah, I don't expect a reaction because we didn't get beat, but I expect more. I really do expect quite a lot more tomorrow night. Yeah. The rest of the crowd might not be that expecting when they're going, but I will be. I will very, very much be expecting Rangers to up it, to seriously up it. Show us all that we actually mean business here, and go take care of Kilmarnock at home. It really is. Again, as a Rangers fan, it's never too much to ask, is it?
It's just got to be more energy, can't it? It's something that we all struggle with watching this Rangers team, and every team's gone by as well. See, when there's a lack of energy, it is the most frustrating thing. Yeah. As a fan,
it's like the basic. It's like the basic of a Rangers player. You will work harder than your opposition team. It's literally as simple as that.
And watching other teams this season, I see it in other teams this season as well, where they don't seem to have a lot of energy. However, Hearts seem to have just a kind of an energy about them and enthusiasm for the game, and that's what worries me. Is that going to get them over the line? Because we need to have that. We need to have that hunger for 3 points. They definitely need to up it. But we've seen it at times. I think at Aberdeen, we did see it. So they are capable of it. But it's up to Danny Rule to get that out of them. But it's an absolute must. There's some players who are just happy to just pull a jersey on and turn up, I think, sometimes. And it won't get you anywhere in Scotland, especially not at Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That will do us for tonight. Make sure you leave comments as well after this goes up onto YouTube after the live stream. Let us know how you think the transfer window has went, etc. You know, we'll always get involved in the chat afterwards. So we look forward to speaking to you all there. Thank you, chat, for tuning in tonight. Very much appreciated. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff, that would be fantastic. Just a quick call to action. Obviously, we mentioned in the previous pods that good friend of the pod, Dixie, is running the Edinburgh Marathon for the MS Society in order to support his best friend's wife who is living with MS. So if you can even donate £1, honestly, even just £1, the link for that is in the description for this podcast. Dixie's asked me personally, for all of those that have went on to already make a donation, he thanks every single one of you, and it really does mean the world to him. I was out with him on Saturday evening, and he was as sober as a judge. And if anybody knows Dixie, that doesn't happen massively often on a Saturday night, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to him, but he's taking this seriously. He's working hard for it, and I would wish him generally all the best. He's taking it more seriously than I thought, and taking Dixie seriously isn't an easy thing to do. It honestly is not a very easy thing to do, but he generally, if you can spare a pound, literally a pound, it would mean the world to him, and obviously the world to us as well, because he's a good friend of ours. So please, if you can, that would be very much appreciated, and I know it would mean the world to him. Ryan, good to have you back, mate. I loved sitting having a chat with you for an hour, mate. Thank you for joining me.
Same, mate. Thank you. Just want to quickly echo that. If anyone can, any sort of donation to Dixie, I agree. The man stood next to me down in a pint of water with ice cubes, and then proceeded to ask the barman for another, which was surreal, absolutely surreal. And it's because the boy's dedicated to doing this run. So hats off to him. He's really working hard for that. So anything you can give, I've not done it yet, but I certainly will be donating. So please, definitely, if you can do that, that'd be great. But thank you, mate. Thank you everybody in the chat. Really enjoyed it tonight. I'm not too down about the performance at the weekend. It is a bump. I think there might be one or two in the way to the end of the season, but it's all about getting back to winning ways, which Danny Rule has done already since he came here. So let's hope we get back to winning ways tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And lastly, just from me personally, happy first birthday to my little girl who turned 1 today. So many happy returns. You absolute wee maniac. But I wouldn't have it absolutely any other way. A world changer, a game changer of a little girl. So yes, happy birthday to her. We'll see you tomorrow night after the Kilmarnock game, hopefully talking about 3 points. Thank you for tuning in. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.